Hola mi gente, ¿cómo está? Ohayo gozaimasu. Salud, ¿cómo se va? Everything good? I hope everything's good. I'm sitting here hanging out before we start this session because it's going to get wild. It'll be fun though. It'll be like an adventure. Just like an adventure when you're dancing with someone. And I really appreciate that Jorge Lizondo's doing this, or George. He is like, for us, like family. I call him my dad. He doesn't know that. Summer calls him her best big brother. Even though he's not around, we think about everyone often, and luckily he's been running these workshops now online, which is great. He is innovative. He's been running this festival for over 10 years, and this is the first time I think doing it online, specifically because of what we're going through right now. And he really does care about you because he's doing these classes, specifically those personal empowerment classes. And if you think about it, all those years before, throughout all those workshops and years of Bachata Festival, there's been a lot of interesting classes, all kinds of personal empowerment classes. Because yes, dance does make you empowered. It gets you all sexy, looking good, moving, having some fun, connecting with someone else, meeting some new friends. And that's the great thing about this festival in Dallas, which I'm missing quite a bit. It's like a family we're not going to see, but when you do see them again next year, it's like a family. You love them. You'll see them again like time didn't pass. But in the meanwhile, while you're at home right now, maybe sad, stuck, locked down, brokenhearted, maybe broken with a bad knee or something like I have right now, and you're struggling through some things right now, dance and music and connection is so important. But right now we're doing it online, so hopefully you're taking all these classes, and maybe next year you'll take some more classes, and we'll get back together again and learn some things and build. So, self-defense, Krav Maga. I'm Bruce, by the way, and I'll be running a couple sessions today. A pretty mild first session. The second session will be a little bit more elevated for elevator protection and self-defense. But consider self-defense as an investment. A lot of people don't like taking these classes when I teach them. And dance festivals, like, why are you doing this? Well, why are we doing massage? Why are we doing lap dance? Because they're personal empowerment. They'll help you in so many different avenues in your life. From dancing to meeting people to getting stronger. If you're going to a club and you're going to get carjacked or something, you'll know what to do. Hopefully that never happen. Because we will be teaching you some things in relation to situational awareness, which is a key for protecting you, and having a plan. Those are the top two. There's three, but we'll talk about that as we get into the session. So please consider taking all the other online classes out there. It will be a lot of fun. And we're going to miss all those instructors, all those friends, all those students we meet out there, like from hanging out and dancing and learning from great people like Edwin Ferreras and Jay Styles and Carlos Cintas. And it was so many people, Kathy, Jessica, Hondo, like so many things, Mike Zuniga. Jeez, we're going to miss you all. Just names I'm forgetting right now, but I'll throw you in there. I was fighting this guy. Whoa, there's a guy. He'll be joining us. We're going to get on an adventure right now. It'll be a great adventure, like an adventure when you're dancing with someone you connect with, when you're dancing with that person. It's like you're escaping for the moment. You're listening to that music. You're watching them move. They look at you. They smile. Well, self-defense in this session will be fun. It'll be an adventure. I'm going to take you on the road. We'll be jumping in some cars. We'll be fighting on the ground. I'll be doing it. You'll be at home kicking back, eating your Doritos and Cheetos, whatever you're doing right now. But please have some fun and take some other classes while you're here. And thank you again, Jorge, for doing this for so many years. You are like our dad. We're going to miss you, and we're going to miss you till next year when we have our Bachata Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you soon. Hola! Welcome to the gear room. These are props, by the way. They're not real, but we're going to be using some of those as we progress in the session. In this session here, which is the violence prevention, threat avoidance, Krav Maga self-defense. Krav Maga comes from Israel. It's a great system that encompasses many different tactics from karate, boxing, judo, wrestling. Many different martial arts are involved in Krav Maga. Now, we'll be covering some basic foundations in this session and in the other one too. But due to liability, here's a disclaimer. Due to liability and contractual obligations, I can't show you too much in-depth tactical and technical techniques. So our focus for this section will be mostly dealing with avoidance and awareness. All that cool tactical training that we teach in other classes, using our weapons and all, we will do that in Tucson. Or maybe, if a private session y'all want, I could visit y'all. So, avoidance, dealing with fear, being aware, which is very important in dealing with being like a psychic, like reading the future. Wouldn't that be great to read the future, win the lottery? What about being a psychic and reading certain things and avoiding danger? That's the best you can do when you're dealing with bad circumstances. So for us, the top 3 keys that we have for self-defense are situational awareness, you have fear management, and committed plans. Now, situational awareness, you can look up somewhere on your old dictionary or online. They'll give you detailed description of what that is. For us, situational awareness is highly being aware using your senses of eyes, smell, taste. Maybe they put a roofie in your drink. Doesn't feel right. And tactical. And as you're dealing with these senses, you're being aware of escape routes as well, of who the perpetrator is with. What are they moving like? What type of perpetrator are they? It could be a thug dressed up in a certain way, all dark, mask, umbrella, attacking you at a roadblock. You kind of know, obviously, he's a threat, right? So knowing who they are, having information about these classes and learning through books and whatever else that you do will help you calm that fear, your second part, right? And have a plan to deal with this person with that umbrella at the roadblock. It could be a carjacker with the gun at the door of your car pulling it. You kind of know through classes like, whoa, I'm scared, but I know who he is, how he's talking, what type of weapon he has, is it fake, is it real, is his finger on the trigger well? All these things are going through a mind of a person who's trained in controlling the situation, controlling that fear, and having a controlled plan of what to do. And you'll see that as we go along, how important. And we'll repeat quite often in our session here, acronyms. We'll be using like BIF, LID, BOLO, VIP, DARVO. DARVO is a term that we use for in psychology. If you study psychology, the DSM talks about personality disorders. People that you're dealing with that get enraged, which is a second type of person. Maybe you cut them off, they jump out, they're mad at you. It could be a boyfriend, girlfriend, roommate who gets mad at you because you don't, you drank their milk or something, or a coworker, you didn't put the report in on time, and they get enraged. We all have issues. We all have mental issues and little things, quirks. Mental illnesses are out there too, like other illnesses that are out there I won't mention. But disorders or personality disorders, the DSM has a cluster A, B, C. Cluster B we'll be focusing on when we teach our classes, are the way people see the world. You have what's called narcissism personality disorder. You've heard of narcissist. But we all have narcissist traits like how good do I look, how's my hair, what do I wear. But no, this is a personality disorder, a character flaw. They see you as objects. They'll treat you good for a while initially, then they'll get really mad at you and enraged, doing kind of stuff like this. When you don't pay attention, you're going out, they accuse you of dancing with that guy you're cheating with. You're not. They're projecting on you. They're gaslighting you. So DSM, cluster B, those enraged kind of people. Because in relationships, we all have conflicts with roommates, coworkers, girlfriends, boyfriends. And how you deal with it through communication, you kind of work out things. But these people with narcissist personality disorder or borderline personality disorder, they typically are really enraged and they start blaming you, accusing you, condemning you, setting you up. They get really toxic. So by you learning, your situation goes up. Like, whoa, why are they so mad? Let's talk about it. We're cool. Then they do it again. And then again. And it gets worse. Then they start robbing you of your stuff in your room and they start gaslighting you. Where's my money? Oh, it was on the table. I didn't take it. They did. Or they send somebody out to get you, a hit on you like a sicario. These people get bad. I've trained a lot of students that have dealt with BPD, NPDs on the malignant side. Malignant are the worst ones. They just see you as objects. Yes, people have NPD, BPD, narcissism personality disorder, and borderline personality disorder, and they struggle with it. But the malignant ones, with NPD, BPD, and they're malignant, those are in the range where we teach self-defense because they get bad. And you learning how to stand, how to communicate, how to set boundaries, those are other sessions. But for us, in this session is avoiding by knowing, by being aware of how they move, how they talk, what they smell like. Are they drunk again? Oh my God, are they doing drugs? That doesn't look good. I gotta deal with the situation. So, we're not being judgmental, but we are profiling. Profiling is completely different, and we do it in the military. Israelis do it too in the military. At the airport, if you go to Jerusalem, they'll profile you. I've been profiled by, special forces folks. That's fine. I'm okay with it. They got to do what they got to do. But we're learning how to read people. Imagine being that psychic, future fortune teller. That's awesome. Through gaining this information, that's what you're doing. Building awareness and dealing with that thug, the enraged person, road rager, boyfriend, girlfriend, the druggy, drunked up person at the party or at the club, in the parking lot, or the sociopath you meet when you're traveling. Hey, come to my room. Let's drink something, yeah. And they don't take the no. You say no. They cross your boundary, and they do certain things. They move certain ways. They start touching you, whatever the case is. And you're like, no. You got to read this. I'm not saying everybody's a sociopath. You know, you do want to meet people, but they got to respect you and your boundaries. And you're setting up your boundaries, putting up your hands, creating space, being aware, controlling that fear, having a plan. Your plan is like to be cool and have them back up, as an example. When you're dealing with the thug, the enraged person, road rager, or boyfriend, girlfriend, or the drunk person, or that sociopath who's way too nice, then they set you up. Then they put you in a Volkswagen, and they drive into some field. You ever heard Ted Bundy? Good-looking guy, lawyer wannabe. He was a sociopath. And they act really nice to you, then they do bad things. Let's not go there. This class is more about avoidance and having some fun. So in this session, we'll be using this guy here. He'll be helping us out. Whoa, dude. What? Let's take all this stuff off. He'll be helping us out. And we'll have a lot of fun. Violence prevention, but avoidance, we'll be using some acronyms, repeating things over and over to get comfortable in controlling that fear, having the plan. We'll be using BIF as an example when we're communicating. And this is something they use in psychology by communicating with people you don't know. Be brief, informative, friendly, and firm. For us, to keep it simple, we're going to say back up. That is being brief. And you're informing them to back up. And you're being friendly. Then you escalate it. Back up. Get a little louder now. And we teach that as we go along in our sessions here in Tucson and online here. Having that boundary setter, having that tone, communicating what you have to do, being aware who else is out there, being brief, informative, friendly, and firm. Put those hands up. That's your stance. You could practice with moves from the previous Dallas Bachata Festivals. And you're dealing with the perpetrator with that umbrella, or you're dealing with an enraged code worker or a road rage person. Back up, buddy. Be friendly first and firm second. And then the third F of that would be fight, which is the other online class. We'll be dealing with him and using some of these props. They're not real, by the way. Some of these topics will be uncomfortable. You got to deal with it because life is uncomfortable. You got to find comfort when you're uncomfortable. So let's get into it. Let's go on a little adventure in a car, on the ground fighting, all that good stuff. Let's have some fun. Hey there, welcome to the class, online, learning some self-defense. So, we're going to be covering some great tactics in relation to your special bubble. A lot of people, when they're inside their vehicle, they feel like they're encased in their own world, playing with their music, checking their phone, whatever the case is. But our focus will be looking into how you can protect yourself and others while you're in your vehicle. Oh, the cameras, I bet you didn't know that they were in the car. But these cats are going to be playing the part of, these dogs, will be playing the part of a VIP. As we say in Krav Maga, and the term VIP typically means very important person, but we say it as being victim, innocent, or principal. If you're traveling in a car, there's a road rage situation going on, or you're getting in the car after grocery shopping or getting out, again, don't leave your dogs in the car without the window rolled down. You should never really leave your dogs in the car. But you have a circumstance that arises. You have to be calm and bring that calmness and that fear down with calmness by having a plan. Now the plan would be, if I had my best friend, wife, girlfriend, whatever the case is next to me, I would use a code word to get them ready for the fight, or get them ready to do something, like film the circumstance, or ready to react in some way. I would say BOLO, which means in the military or law enforcement, be on lookout. Now for them, if that was my best friend, they hear BOLO, they're like, whoa. They'll unlatch, they'll get their light going, maybe a flashlight, or they'll get something to, if they have a weapon on them, and then I do that latch part, the locking part here, right? Now if you notice, they're in the way when I do my ABC. You have to modify, because I'm turning my body, I'm now loose and free to deal with that perpetrator with the gun or knife, or the person over there. My best friend's freaking out, but they have BOLO in their mind, they have a plan of what to do. They're on the lookout, they're calling 911, they're filming. I'm ready to fight if I have to. Now this is done only if you're stuck and you can't leave this traffic jam, or if you're in a car and it hasn't turned on, or the car is broken down. But in reality, if somebody walks up to you, drive, get the heck out of there, don't even hang out. I had a circumstance years ago where I was hanging out with this female on this secluded little area, having some fun, and all of a sudden I saw a car drive up, a dude pops out. Luckily my door was locked, and the guy started hitting the window because I had the window closed. He wanted to carjack us. What did I do? I did this. Not with that finger, but we drove away. That was all she wrote. But now let's say that you're stuck, road traffic jam, in the parking lot, you ABC, because you gotta fight. Now here, I'm bracing with that elbow again, and I'm turning my body. Now I'm pushing away and angling slightly and talking to him like this. Now it could be a gun, a grab, whatever the case is, but I have my hammer strikes. I got my scratches going on, and I just turn that car on and get out of here. So, they didn't get hurt. They're still chilling out. We're gonna go for a ride. So say you have no time to practice in your car because you have too many neighbors watching you. In the living room, set up 2 chairs, just like this. And you'll practice your A, B, C, anchor, brace, combatives, and your 3 L's, which are the lock, latch, and light. Here, you're driving along, stop at our intersection, some person walks up, lock the door if it wasn't locked. You can use your elbow if you like, unlatch, take it off, slip it off, hit that hazard light, and lean at the same time, prepared for your ABC. At this point, you got your anchoring with that elbow, you're bracing, bottom foot, bring up, ready for combatives, which are strike tools. Bring up that knee as a shield, and you have now your hand to scratch, hammer strike, bite if you have to, whatever the case is. So with self-defense, a lot of people think about it as being just like being a karate person or Halle Berry, John Wick 3, being like a ninja. In reality, self-defense is more than just physical tactics of kicking and punching. It's more about using the mind. And there's the best 3 top tools for self-defense. Very few people know. You didn't get this, buddy. The top 3 would be situational awareness, fear management, and decisive action. Avoiding danger. That's what we're talking about. Even danger to getting hurt on the ground if you fall. We have mentioned, or we will mention, OODA, the OODA loop, which is in the military we use it as well, where we talk about the acronym OODA. For today, we're going to condense it down to ODA. Observe, decide, and act. Right now I'm observing the ground. And when we teach our students here in Tucson, we actually fall on the ground. Like cement, pavement, gravel, doesn't matter, because in reality, you might fall in the street, in the parking lot, when you're dealing with a road rager. Yes, we want to diffuse, de-escalate, but the bad guy's still coming at us. I still got to protect myself and have that committed plan. Top 3 self-defense tools that you have for avoidance: situational awareness, fear management, and then you have that committed action plan. For us, the action plan for today, those other tactics didn't work with the diffusion, deterrence, distraction. You might use it when you're on the ground. So we're going to cover it slowly. Do this at home on your carpet. You're going to have 1 knee up, 1 knee down. Some counts to work through as we're doing this. Count 1, glue your chin, keep it there, count 1. Count 2, 2 hands, right here on your shoulders. Count 3, push your butt back, your chin forward. 4, you're going to fall, slap the ground, and hold that position, just like this. And here you can pivot. You can move, having a position for parrying with this hand, talking to them with this other hand, and having this as a shield or a combative is very important. This elbow here, again, working your ABC that you did in the vehicle and on the chairs earlier, you're going to have that bracing aspect, or anchoring, A, B, bracing down below, and then C, combatives if you need them, up here with your foot or your hand. I could also extend up and move, parry. Anything I need to do to protect myself. You could distract by pointing with this hand. Hey, there's a camera right there. There's a cop right there. Back up. Again, keyword, back up. We'll talk about that later on. So back up. Why do we say back up? We'll talk about that as we go along, but primarily we keep it simple. We're actually command presence when we're dealing with these perpetrators. Tell them to back up, keep it simple, back up to our VIP, back up to us if we're going to further, to engage further, like psychologically, you're like, whoa. Now in this session we're covering psychological tactics. Krav Maga, which was, by the way, developed in Israel in 1948 by Amy Lechtenfeld, he developed this program to teach the soldiers and law enforcement how to deal with threats, not only physical threats, but psychological threats. And that's what we'll be focusing on here, developing instinct. In Krav Maga, we use instinct and intuition. These concepts are psychological tactics to keep us away from danger, avoiding danger and conflict. And it's very important to learn these things, so you have to actually get into battle, physical battle. We could show you tactics in dealing with using mace as an example, pepper spray, or flashing a light, which is a cool tactic to use actually to defend yourself against these perpetrators, and they're very non-traditional tactics. And that's what we do here with violence prevention, using psychological tactics. I do recommend that you look into Krav Maga in your area. I could recommend some good books. Some instructors that I know that are really great instructors, like as an example Dana from San Diego, or Ben from Boston, or David from Jersey. They got some really good books they've written on Krav Maga, and they really focus on the psychological aspect to prevent danger from occurring. So I've been teaching Krav Maga for over, I think, 18 years, and combat arts for 35 years, and I've seen quite a bit. And the best thing to do is to avoid danger. And that's what we're talking about in this session. The next session will cover more advanced tactics and what to do physically. So the criminal and the threats that are out there, we kind of know what a road rage person looks like, how a person who wants a fight looks like, the way they stand. So these are aspects you're looking for, right? Nose flaring, going like this, the way they look at you, a robber, a thief manipulating you, they might look around first. These are signs that you're looking for, so you're working off your situational awareness. And I think we mentioned that. Situational awareness, fear management, and action plans. So for us, we want to avoid danger. I don't want to get physical. I just want to be like a psychic. We mentioned that earlier too, to avoid danger. How do you build that skill? Working instinct and intuition. Now the two can work together. One is developed through training. One is innate, DNA, already in you, which is cool. Like the fear of falling, babies don't like that. They don't like loud noises, nor do we as adults. So through Krav Maga, we worked our instinct, our reaction, our control of fear, and what to do. So our physical tactics will be different. Our psychological tactics will be dealing with people and having an action plan. Again, situational awareness, or ODA, that's another class. Fear management, fawning, fighting, flying, or freezing, another class, right? Or another clip maybe. And then action plans. For this action plan here, we got to have a plan that's easy to do. It's within us through training, repetition and stress drills that we do in Krav Maga. Through the training, these things are in the back of our mind to use, because when we see a threat, that intuition, that gut feeling, like, oh, that doesn't feel right, it's back there because you've already done it through training, and it comes out like, whoa, and then you protect yourself. So we could teach you moves, maneuvers, avoidance, ducking, moving like a boxer, evasive maneuvers through instinct training that we do in Krav Maga. And here I could mention all the terminology that we use in Krav Maga, but I'll keep it brief and simple. I'm not going to talk about cavaliers or retsev or dead side, live side. I'll just be speaking to you in a way that is easy for you to kind of learn and kind of quickly. And again, I apologize if I talk fast, but there's a lot of information, and I'm excited to share this with you. But write it down, rewind, pause, review. Again, situational awareness will keep you safe. Fear management, you won't freeze. You'll do something with an action plan. For us today, action plan will be simple, because these perpetrators, sometimes they'll approach you and they'll be like sheep, really nice. They listen, they care, they want to do whatever you want to do, be your best friend. And over time, as an example, they'll start accusing you, blaming you, condemning you. And these people will exploit you. They're very entitled, and they get enraged really fast. And guess what? What they are, they're wolves. Can you see that? They're wolves hiding in sheep's clothing. And that's what we mentioned earlier, I believe, about the DSM manual, psychiatrists use, psychologists use, and the mental disorders. People struggle through mental illness, mental issues. But mental disorders, they struggle too. They went through some trauma in their life. Now, they're hurt people, hurting people. Hurt people will hurt people. It doesn't make it right. Yes, you kind of know who the perpetrator is, the robber is, the carjacker, the way they stand, the gun that they're holding. The attack and violence is immediate with them. And in my world, I think that's cool. I know who you are. The worst one is that person with the mental disorder. They're insidious. They're slow in how they attack you and how they abuse you. That'll be another class, but we talked about malignant disorders. on the spectrum of borderline personality disorder and narcissist personality disorder. Like I mentioned earlier, yeah, there's people that struggle with it, but not those folks with the BPD, NPD. It's the malignant ones. Did you know that Hitler and Ted Bundy had ASPD, NPD, and BPD? They sure enough did. And they were malignant. You know what they did? Same thing with malignant people on this side of the house. You could have a roommate you're living with who'll turn up the heat, and you're living in Tucson, it's like 110 degrees outside. She puts it to 100 degrees inside the house. She's malignant. Had a friend going through something like that. Her roommate was doing that. Not cool. Going back, finalizing all of this. We want to avoid danger. Learn, read books, like I mentioned earlier. Study, rewind, pause this. Situational awareness, working the 5 senses, paying attention, right? Working that. Fear management, controlling that fear, taking that breath. And then let them yell or whatever, and then you deal with them. And then plan of action. For today, avoidance would be 3 of these and 3 Ds over here. So 3 Ds and 3 Ds. We have, on this side of the house, we have deterrence, diffusing, distraction. On the second level class, if you decide to take that one, you have defend, destroy, and depart. We won't talk about that yet. But here I'm going to give you some examples of dealing with an action plan. Situational awareness, fear management, and then action plan with the 3 Ds. Deter, diffuse, distract. The first story I have for you is going to be really quick. My cousin in New York, counter-terrorist, police officer in New York City. He's on the team. Tough guy. Got off of work one time at 2 o'clock in the morning. Took off his uniform. He had to get over that bridge over there to get to the train station, subway station over there, to go home. He used the 3 Ds. Tough guy. He had situational awareness. He was watching. He was listening. He saw 3 guys. He could smell that they were drunk from a distance. He was like, yo, I got to get over there. I got to deter this by the way I walk. He started walking a certain way. He's like, I'm walking like a cop. I got to change my... and diffuse this and then distract. As he went over the bridge, they looked at him. He was like talking to himself. Started grabbing his hair, scratching his hair, acting crazy. Diffused it, distracted, got over the bridge, into the train, got home safe. Situational awareness, fear management, action plan, 3 Ds. Second story, Summer and I were dancing. Summer's my dance partner here in Arizona. We were dancing at a salsa club, and she has situational awareness going on. She saw some girl who was drunk hit an old man on the dance floor with her elbow. This drunk girl was drinking a beer. And, you know, for us, we don't drink and dance, right? You know that. So Summer got upset, part of her fear management. She was getting sad, like, for the old man. So we decided the action plan, get in there to deter, diffuse, and distract. So we got in there, started talking to the girl. The girl grabbed the bottle, was about to swing it to my head. Summer went to this mode over here, defend, destroy, depart. She took care of that situation. She put her in a chokehold, slammed her to the wall. Bouncer came over, took the bad girl away. And then we started dancing again and calmed down. And the last one, it's an interesting situation that combines the spectrum of bad people. I knew this one toxic individual who needed a lot of help. She had mental issues, and one night I was hanging out with my girl, La Femme, downtown, and this toxic person calls me on the phone screaming and needed help. Some guy took her phone. I'm like, whose phone number is this? It's not her phone. I call the cops, I said. And then I told the family to go. I'll be back. Hang out. I'll come back to the house. Got in my car, went over there. That girl, the toxic person, was sitting there drunk as heck with the guy who seemed like he's about to sexually assault her. He was drunk too. He stood up, looked at me. I started kind of talking to him a little bit, kind of diffusing, deterring him by the way I stood, distracting him. And he wanted to fight. I had situational awareness, fear management, and action plan. 3 Ds. Diffuse, distract. Distraction was next. And deterrence. I looked at him like, dude, don't take another step. He was looking at my hips. I could tell that meant he was a wrestler. I don't want to put this guy in the freaking ground or in a hospital or me in jail. So I said, you take another step, I'm going to call the cops. Distraction. He took another step. What did I do? I called the cops. The cops showed up within 2 minutes, took care of the scenario. And I didn't have to put him in freaking any pain or anything. I picked her up, took her home, took care of the situation. But people that are toxic, that have issues, and she has a lot of issues, they'll put you in bad circumstances like that. So keep an eye out, avoid danger, work through your 3 Ds, and keep working that instinct by developing it through learning, by reading, by watching this, and just practicing. You're going to see a couple of clips that are extreme in many ways. Disclaimer, I am not here to coddle you. I'm here to show you some self-defense tactics, awareness, raise awareness, and you're here to visit and learn, right? So hopefully you'll be having an open mind as you watch these clips, because the world out there is not that much safe right now. So it might be a machete guy, it might be a gun guy, trying to be funny, trying to be like Jason Bourne or James Bond or whoever's out there, trying to be all cool. Keep an open mind, watch how they react. And what we really should be doing is working through our Ds: diffusion, de-escalation, distraction, right? And using that OODA loop we'll talk about later, the ODA, observe, decide, and act. So let's see what happens. Man, this guy. What's up, G? Show me. Yo, what's up, G? Yo. Wait, don't mess with my dog now. I got what you want right here, bro. What's up?
Hey, man. Hey, dude.
Hey, walk away, man.
Hey, man, I think
Hey, dude. Hey, back away, dude. I got my car. Dude, get away, man. Go. Go.
Eclipse. Parry it, strike, push back, throw it. Cut him up. Move. Excellent.
Wow, that was violent. We put those clips in there to show you how my students train here in Tucson, how they actually use the triple Ds, ODA, situational awareness, everything you learned in this session. This session was threat avoidance. Next session would be escaping and using fear to protect yourself with some physical tactics. And we use control aggression. It's a lot different from how perpetrators that are out there. These like blind rage or manipulation and manipulated violence to get to you. That's not good. Control aggression in our world is good. You might have different opinions, but you're trying to protect yourself because they don't listen. Those bad people don't care about you. We talked about that spectrum of bad people, the thug on the street, enraged, boyfriend, girlfriend, roommate, whatever, the drunk, druggie, and a sociopath. Those with malignant personality disorders that act really nice to you. We mentioned looking into the DSM, the manual that doctors use, psychologists, psychiatrists, to look into these malignant people. Because there's certain ways of talking to them. And we talked about BIF. There's a new one. JADE. J-A-D-E. Justify, argue, defend, explain. When you're talking to these people that are malignant, and these are kind of cues and clues when you're dealing with these people, you cannot justify yourself, you can't argue with them, you can't defend yourself, you can't explain yourself. They're not going to listen. Another one, 3 E's. They lack empathy, they're very entitled, and they exploit you. And that could be a guy you meet or a lady you meet when you're traveling or going to conferences, and they're really like, I know what I'm doing, blah, 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 and they have no empathy to your abilities or to your voice. So I do appreciate you coming out here. We were going to talk about that aspect of the drill that we did earlier where you close your eyes, you have that controlled breathing, and that's kind of switching and tricking your mind and body by stressing you out, because stress is part of our life, but how do you deal with it, right? Using the ODA, situational awareness, controlling your fear, having that breath, right? Closing your eyes, shutting off the lights, maybe faking a cigar, like sniff a cigar or something, I don't know, I'm being silly here. Turn off your phone for sure when you're doing this. My phone is always on, so I need to turn it off sometimes, because this sucker is still, I don't know, working. But having the right tools in your tool belt is very important. As an example, working on your car is busted. If you get too extreme and get angry, as an example, you grab a hammer and start hammering, that's not a good tool to use, although using a hammer on a starter in a Volkswagen helps sometimes, but using a shotgun, that's extreme. That's crazy. ODA, situational awareness, calm, breathing. ODA, observe, decide. What tools should I use for this situation? It could be correlating to a fight, or correlating to your car. Look at this. The tools are right here. These are the tools you need. Right tools, wrong tools. Right situation. Thanks for coming out, visiting. I appreciate you paying attention to my continuous talking and all these acronyms and such. So I just want to thank everyone. Arigato gozaimasu. Bayarta, bayarla. Komapsumida. Anonzi. Abiento. Ciao.